But shit, dude, I feel like we just spent half hour or more talking about fast food, so we should probably talk about something that's slightly more relevant to the mission of the show
I mean,
than
you said
fast
we
food.
hadn't talked about Tucker yet, right? I
Oh
thought we
yeah,
had talked about Tucker last week.
I don't think we did. I think we talked about. I made a reference to Don Lemon because I think that like Biden kind of bashed him a little bit in his correspondence dinner. But
Yeah,
I don't think we talked about Tucker. I don't think we did. Maybe we did. But
I
there's
honestly,
new
it's just
Tucker
been,
stuff. So
yeah, well, exactly, right? It's just been so crazy for me. I can't even fucking remember. But yeah, man. I mean, so he got kicked off of. I mean, lightning round, right?
mhm.
He got kicked off of Fox for you ask 1,000 different people, you get 1,000 different reasons, and I mean that's basically it. He's been bound by a contract, like a non compete type deal.
Mhm.
Um, and I guess as of like a day or so ago, he released a video. I haven't watched the full video, but I watched a little bit of it. He
What's his
released a video
cadence like?
basically. What's that?
What's his like cadence and energy like in the video? Is it like he was on Fox News?
Um, it's like, I mean, he talks this. He always talks that way.
Hmm.
But it's like shot with a completely different kind of camera. It's
Mm,
like in like side his house or something
interesting.
like that. It's like within, like, it's like inside some like library, some person's like private library or some shit like that. Like wood shit all around him, and like I mean, he just talks like Tucker Carlson, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, and I guess, and this is wild to me, his show's gonna just like be on Twitter.
Hmm.
I don't know what the fuck that even means.
Yeah, neither do I.
But yeah, so that's interesting.
So I
Um,
think Twitter's been kind of trying to dip its like toes into like the media market a little bit more. Like I've been seeing where you can watch like sports games on Twitter streams and stuff like that. Like they're trying to make it
okay.
a little bit more like how Facebook is in the sense that you can host like long form content on there in a more meaningful way.
I mean,
Um,
I know that they've been kind of like doing stuff a lot more like Substack on there too.
okay, yeah.
So I guess that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, all I know is that I saw this article. I don't know what it was on, but it was talking about him, and it said that he has over 100 million views, I think, on the tweet where he announced he's going to be having the Twitter show, and over the course of 24 hours had like some insane numbers of views on the video and this and that and the other. Like that was what the entire article was about, was just how well it's performing. So I assume he's probably going to be pretty fine on Twitter, but it's interesting because like in the video, in his 3 minute video, one of the quotes they put in the article out of it was that he was talking about how Twitter's always been a bastion for free speech um and for the like spreading of American political thought and discussion, which is just nuts because I mean Twitter's like notoriously been censoring people. I mean, he's right that Twitter has been like it's basically the main driver of political discourse in America now, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
totally.
he's
Well, and
definitely
also he's not completely wrong, because it is just like, if you want to actually be basically like getting the news,
mhm.
um, like you want to try to wrestle with that thing, like Twitter's basically where you're gonna actually be able to do that.
Oh,
So like
definitely.
he's not wrong,
He's going straight
right?
to the source, so which is good too for him. Like he'll get, I think, more viewership. He'll get in with the younger demographic. I think overall,
Right.
this whole move is going to be a lot better for him.
Well, it's
Um,
also just, it is just funny too that like, the funny thing about that to me is that it's just like his show for like years now has basically just been
Bin Twitter.
react. Yeah, exactly. He's just
Yeah,
reacting to Twitter. He's just the
yeah,
Twitter show on television.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely. Now he gets to be a little
and
bit more nested in that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I mean, how much of a blow to this project of his is it to basically lose the boomers of TV? I don't really know, right? But
I think that it. I think that's interesting because I don't. I think that he is losing them, obviously, but I don't think that like in ideology he is. Like I think that like as far as the project or whatever that you're talking about, I don't
yeah,
think that he's lost them on that. I think he's just not in front of them anymore. I think that he will be in front of new people now that he has the ability to possibly gain and win over. Whereas
I see.
previously
I don't
he
think he's
didn't.
going to be in front of anybody new with
Well, not
this.
necessarily new, but like I think that it's just going to be something that's not contained just to the boomers on cable network, and it'll be something that's like more
I mean, you might be
accessible.
right. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right.
And
I
I
mean, do
think
you think? How do you think this is going to play out for him?
I don't know. I think that he's like you said, he was already very much so dovetailed in with Twitter. Like a lot of what was coming off or was going on his show were Twitter talking points directly. Um,
Right.
and he was getting more and more into like esoteric right wing Twitter kind of talking points too that had somehow been kind of floating onto his page. Um, and I think that it will do him. I don't know if it's going to do him good, but he'll be more tied in with that now. So there'll be a stronger feedback loop there. I think personally, um, which I don't know if that's good or not. I don't know if that means like numbers wise he'll do any better. I think that it might mean that that stuff's getting sidetracked rather than mainstreamed. But also, I think it may be the new mainstream because like are we going to consider old people watching television mainstream, or are we going to consider like what's happening on Twitter the mainstream? Um,
Oh
because
no. Yeah, totally.
because for a long time I feel like that's kind of been like a dividing line where people are like, oh, it's just Twitter, or like, oh, Twitter's not real life, or whatever. But like fundamentally, that's where the main mechanisms of what's happening within political thought and like discourse and culture generally is kind of taking place. It's the main cultural production like mechanism that we have right now in America.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think like obviously the majority of people are getting there are consuming media through the internet. So there's that, right? I guess the thing for me is just that it's like the American political structure is basically like about catering to the boomers that are still watching
Mm-hmm.
television. And so it is one of these, like, when we enter into just like that space of thinking about American politics, we always need to like make that adjustment. Like we're like going out into the vacuum of space, like a completely foreign,
Mm-hmm.
in contrary to everything we understand about the world and culture, just like total, it's just boomerland. Like politics is boomerland. Uh,
Definitely.
and like think about like even how young people sound when they get like really invested into like the latest psyop of the day. They like sound like boomers,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's like, yeah, I don't know. I think I do ultimately agree with you, just because it is like, you know, the internet's the biggest platform. Like I think he's just going to continue to blow up, right? I mean, he's fucking huge. The boomers can just figure out how to watch him on their phones
Right.
now, right? Um, yeah, I mean, he's the biggest like American television program of all time.
I think this is
So
part of an
yeah, I
organic
don't know.
shift away from what you were talking about with politics being mainly focused towards boomers on television networks. I think it's still primarily focused towards the boomer group, but it's going to be always focused on that group generationally as we progress, and even as
Mhm.
that group changes into being the what Gen X and then millennials or whatever. I think it's fundamentally going to always be that, but I think that like television as a medium is dying, and I think that television news is dying as a medium. Their late night talk shows don't have the legs that they used to. They don't get the numbers and the views that they used to. And I think that this is an organic part of the shift towards this sort of that focus being on cable networks to being on online platforms more so.
Yeah, I mean, I think like, yeah, yeah, I think that's a fair point, about Tucker kind of being kind of the a big shift that kind of, um, represents that.
I hope it goes well for him enough. You know, what I mean, I have my quandaries with Tucker Carlson. I'm not like this dude's the shit or anything, but he also
Hmm.
did platform some interesting ideas that are a little bit more in the wheelhouse of things that I like to, entertain ideologically.
I mean, he's
Um,
the he's the only he's the only person operating in like, legacy media that's actually like talking about politics as it actually exists, and
Mm-hmm.
not just in the like the boomer.
Online, or
um
not online, but cable world.
yeah, I mean just mainstream culture, like in general, right?
Yeah.
Like you watch any of this stuff, and it's and I say this describing like everything else in right-wing media as well.
Mm-hmm.
um I mean, like I said, Tucker is basically just like the Twitter show.
Yeah.
But like
I think they're
everything else
all
is
that
just,
now, though.
yeah, to an extent. But the thing is that it's they'll be reacting to like the content produced on Twitter, like absolutely right. But like the ideological character of those shows isn't
You're right.
informed by
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
the Twitter discourse, in the way that um in the way that it is on Tucker. I mean, I guess it is in a way, but like I feel like libs have a really good strategy with that, which is basically just being like just like the weird tranny shit and stuff like that. Like that's our version of
Mm-hmm.
that, right? Like
Definitely.
every 4 years there's just gonna be like a series of riots to basically like throw those people a bone.
Mm-hmm.
Um
But
Whereas
they
like the
don't.
right, whereas the right, like literally to keep oxygen going, they like literally need to actively court those people throughout the year,
Right.
to varying degrees, obviously. But
Yeah. So that includes like having them on your show, or having Pedro Gonzalez on, or like, putting up black.com pilled tweets on your fucking show.
right. Though I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Pedro, I don't know, but like,
No, but
yeah,
he's an entity in that world of Twitter, and it's like a direct link there.
he
Um,
is. Well, it's funny, dude. Pedro is like, well, whatever. It's like I don't want to like. It's not like I want to go out and just intentionally burn bridges, but that guy
no,
is
I
like,
don't know anything about the guy. I was just bringing him up because he's
but
been on
I
Tucker.
know, but I'll say, like, he seems like a psyop from legacy media
Yeah, into the
into the new
political
thing.
world in order. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he kind of seems like right wing, like Crystal Ball.
yeah. That makes sense
Um,
for sure. And so they planted him. Legacy Media planted him into Twitter, so that then Tucker Carlson could then pull him out and put him back onto Legacy Media, but as if it's a fresh Twitter thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
Like, dude, okay, honestly, like this is an important thing to point out, right? Like breaking points, okay? Like I just brought up Crystal Ball, right? Like breaking points, Crystal and Sagar, right?
Hmm.
People like need to know that like this is this channel, the main takeaway from this fucking channel is that like this is how fucking easy it is to just like shift gears to have millennials and Gen Z just be like as fucking brain dead as boomers are. Like of
100%.
course, you watch their videos and they're saying the bare minimum of stuff that puts them at least more facing towards reality and like
Hmm.
the actual honest characteristic of like political discourse and just politics in general. But like they're a psyop, right? And it's mostly just this aesthetic tweaking, like I said, to just boomerify young people. This just it's the same fucking thing. But it's interesting, right? Because now Tucker's going to be in that same media sphere,
Hmm.
right? And I mean that's gonna be interesting. I mean, I, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
It makes me wonder what Fox News is like. What's Fox's move now? You know what I mean? Like, is Gutfield your
to
fucking
fucking die. I mean, like
right?
their ratings suck dick, dude. uh I mean, the ratings never suck dick, but I mean comparatively, like they're kind of getting fucked. Which honestly, this isn't even the kind of stuff the kind of points that I usually like to make, because it's like, again, like it's like markets aren't a medium for consent, right?
Hmm.
Like
Of
who
course.
who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? Like the Dylan Mulvaney stuff, right? Like I don't give a fuck about consumer
Who's Dylan
activism.
Mulvaney?
Oh, dude, I like actually don't have the heart to. It's the Bud Light stuff.
Oh
It,
fuck! I know the
it's
Bud Light stuff. Okay.
it's that it's I almost said chick. It's that dude. Holy
Whoa!
shit.
Get your pronouns right, boy.
I know, I gotta lash myself. No,
Okay, so okay, sorry, I actually didn't know who that was. What the
yeah,
name was?
don't I don't even want to fucking talk about that shit.
Yeah, I didn't want to bring
But
it
yeah,
up, bro.
consumer activism. It's just like this is like the language of the defeated.
Definitely.
I don't give a shit
Well, it's
about this
completely
stuff.
lib brain bullshit, right? Because like that's what the whole lib move is, like an individual level. Is like, well, it's on you to support the things that you want to see, like, and like you can activate change through market decisions and stuff like that. And it's like it's obvious that that is a necessary mechanism for capitalism to have, because
Yes.
it's like a way that it grows itself is through making markets out of like personal choice and out of like moral quandaries and ethical issues. And so like it's I don't know. Of course, it's bullshit. It's just that individualizing frame that they put on everything, anyways. Where it's like if you want the sea turtles to stop dying, you know, you should stop buying straws and stop using bags rather than like looking at systemic issues of why there's like infinite oil and gas and plastic going into the oceans that have nothing to do with individuals using fucking straws. And so it's just like that game that they play all the time, which is nuts. But it does make me a little bit curious to see just like how Fox News plans to deal with the fact that they will get viewership drop. I would think because in my mind, Tucker Carlson's the only viable product that Fox News puts out or did put out. So I don't know like where they go to from here. I don't know how they plan to do anything other than just like sit around and wait to die off.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, they're not gonna die off because they're still the biggest fucking television channel, right? But it's gonna be a big hit. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, his slot was the biggest thing. I don't fuck Fox News, dude. Fuck all
Well,
of
yeah,
them. Like
dude,
fuck the
it's all
GOP. Fuck
ridiculous.
yeah. I mean,
Murdoch and
like
whatever.
yeah, no, exactly. Like fuck Rupert Murdoch. Fuck all these people. I hope that this devastates them as much as much as it can, right? But yeah, I don't know. Fucking weird shit, dude.
I guess Rupert Murdoch's a silent investor in Twitter nowadays. I mean, I'm sure he's been since fucking day one. But yeah,
That's fucking hilarious to me.
I
God
guess
damn.
what else is there? We could.
Well, I was talking a little bit earlier just about the well, one thing I want to talk about because okay, two things. All right, the Dem debates, which I touched on very briefly
Mm-hmm.
earlier, and then just like water and maybe a little bit of supplements, but mostly water. Because your boy Slav is in a little bit of a new era as far as personal health goes, as far as self optimizing. We'll say if I
Nice.
wanted to be a pervert about it.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Um,
damn, but don't use that language around me, bro.
and
That's crude language where I'm from.
today I graduated finally from the Brita filter to some like proper non-tap drinking water, and
What filter did you get, or
I
like
just got
what?
a normal like Brita pitcher, right? Which
Okay.
listen, like I get it, right? For the longest time, I was just straight up drinking tap, dude,
Yeah.
like just raw dogging it,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have to say this is a very new thing for me. All right, I've been a tap guy for years and years and years, and got the Brita right. Okay, yeah, it's a nice minimum, but at this point, dude, we got a there's like some wells in the area that you can just kind of go to and just like there's like a map of the fucking US, I think. Uh Maps online you can find of just like springs in your area. You can just like go to these places and fucking fill up jugs of water totally for free, and it's like the cleanest fucking water that you can get. Um and so I fucking invested in just like a bottle, one
Huh.
of those huge water jugs. I'm just trying one out, but I'll go get another one soon. And like a big crock that you turn it upside down into, but
Mm-hmm.
like not like the plastic like office dispenser, but I got like a ceramic one. Just it's like less plastic,
Sure.
right? Um, and it's fucking good shit, dude. I mean, I literally just did this afternoon, but
So what? You just walk up and it's like an open water source? It's just like kind of like a lake or a small pond, or like well, as in like there's like a concrete wall around it, or like
Yeah,
what?
so there's like a number of these places, but one of them that I'm familiar with is like a little ways out of Seattle. That is like it's like this covered. You just pull off the road, and it's like this gravel little inlet, right? With this basically like it's nice. It's like a public park style structure, but it's just like this one little like roofed kind of small canopy with like four pillars. Not canopy like fabric, but like this covered area with this like concrete block with a pipe with two spigots coming out either end. And like people just walk up and they're constantly going 24/7, just like these spigots that are coming up out of this
Hmm.
well underground. And they're just constantly going, and people just pull up and you just fill up your water from these spigots.
And it's just
um
groundwater or like spring water. It's not treated or
yeah,
anything.
yeah, it's just like it's no exactly, yeah, it's just coming from a spring underground.
Huh.
um and
Nice.
it's fucking awesome, dude.
So do you run
And
that through an additional filter or anything, or do you just drink that straight?
dude, you just drink that
Nice.
straight up. And yeah, it's pretty legit. Still trying to figure out like where exactly I want to like keep the water in my kitchen and all that, but that's kind of an interesting thing. That's like one
Dude,
thing
that's
that I've
super
just
legit.
well, yeah, I mean that's just one thing. Like I feel like, and this is to anybody listening to this, right? It's just like, and again, I was on the tap water for the longest time, right? So coming honestly here, like getting off the tap water is important, I think. Like I just it's like you're like watching television, right? You're seeing the you're watching Joe Biden fucking stammer through trying to talk in public, right? You're seeing whatever the fuck Fox News is talking about anymore, right? You see the state, right? And it's just in shambles, and it's a clown car, and you're like, how does anyone even take this seriously? And you're like, do I want that clown car in charge of managing the fucking water that I'm putting into my body? Like this, like just tap water coming through the fucking pipes that these fucking chuckleheads are in
Right.
charge of taking care of. And keep in mind, like Washington has significantly better tap water than most places in the country,
Oh,
right?
dude, the water that I get here in my city is like so bad. It's from one of the most polluted water sources in America, so it's coming from a pretty bad starting point.
Right.
But
So this is probably like old news to you, right? Um,
yeah, I mean it's fucked pretty bad. I didn't know about these springs that you're talking about though, which is cool. But yeah, what like you're saying here, like even trusting these people, even if they're not going to be malicious about it, I mean, they don't know how to run shit properly at all. And there is like massive infrastructure problems across America that don't get addressed until way down the line when it's already an issue. And there's like bloated bureaucracies that are in charge of these things. And so they don't actually get managed correctly, or there's not proper oversight over what's happening. And so, yeah, I mean, it's definitely you're leaving your life up to chance drinking the water that they're fucking producing for you, no doubt about that. I saw on this podcast I was watching, this dude got arrested in Louisiana for pissing in the supply. He was on video. He was a worker there, and he pissed in the water supply that was like
holy shit.
post filter and post treatment, the one water that was going out for other people. And he's on video doing it, and they caught him on video twice doing it because the first time they didn't know what he was doing, and then he got fired. And it's like, well, just how many times had he done it before that? You know what I mean? He could have pissed in the water every single day the whole time he worked there, until
Right.
someone caught him. So I mean, if that's going on at the very basic level, that's fucked up, and you don't want any of that. So I mean, that's beyond even like what they're actually putting into water as treatment, or like the fluoride, or like any of the other stuff that they're putting in there.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I want your take on the fluoride, okay? Because this is actually something I've just been thinking about, which is like, I like, I don't know. I mean, I've toyed with the idea before of just like I was like, all right, I'll get like some Toms or something, right? I'll like cut down on the fluoride just to see,
Hmm.
right? Um, but I was still always chugging fucking tap water,
Right.
which again, like I said, like is a lot easier to justify doing in Washington, right? Because again, like our tap water is, I mean, you'll see, right?
Hmm.
But like, fuck, I totally just lost my train of thought.
Fluoride.
Sorry.
They're still putting
Yeah, I mean,
fluoride in it though, no doubt.
oh, in the tap water.
In Washington, yeah.
Oh no, exactly. And so like, I mean, what's your take on fluoride? People are there's a lot of people that are just like totally convinced that's the whole thing with tap water.
Yeah.
I don't, that's not really even my main
No.
reason for doing this,
No, there's
to be
dissolved
totally honest.
microplastics and metals and stuff like that in the water that are more harmful, I think, than the fluoride is. Um,
100%
at least
exactly
at
that.
aggregate level. But I think that the fluoride's not right either. I mean, dude, I think that if you're gonna use fluoride at the dentist or on your toothpaste or whatever, go for it. But like, I don't think it's meant to be consumed for just like into your gut. I mean, they don't even let you eat or drink anything after you go to the dentist for 30 minutes because they put fluoride on your teeth. So like, I don't know, it can't be good to drink. But that being said, like, I don't think that that's like the biggest concern, and I think that fixating on it has become like a meme in a way. And I think that that's harmful in general for the whole like anti tap water movement. Um, what I will say is that like I think it's great to get off the tap water. I think that like ideally if you can you should, but I think that for a lot of people it's really restrictive to do that. I think that there's thousands and thousands of people who drink tap water. I think that ideally we would fix the water problem rather than everyone just getting off tap water. But like that's with everything, right? That's where we end up talking about building parallel systems and stuff like that. So I don't know. I think that it would be better if we lived in a world where we could have water treatment facilities that don't use fluoride and that can account for microplastics, and that we can stop littering microplastics into everything, and spraying, pesticides on everything that then end up draining into our water supply. Ideally, we would stop that, and then we could just provide good tap water for everyone, and you wouldn't have to get off the
Well,
tap water.
this is the same kind of thing as fucking as McDonald's and the fast food conversation, right? Is it's just like the plebs just get slop,
Right, right.
right? And like that's a problem, right? Like we get this, the plebs get the gruel,
Hmm.
and we don't like that because the gruel's bad.
Yeah, I think that like even Brita filters and stuff like that, they don't even actually filter out like a bunch of solids. Like I think stuff like the zero filter, the only ones that are zero water, things like that, they filter out a higher number of suspended solids. But like Britas and stuff like that don't do that as much. So like even using a Brita filter is not really doing what you need it to do all the way. It's better than tap water, but it's not doing what you really need it to do.
Yeah,
Um,
100%, 100%. Like I think the Brita filter is basically like the minimum.
mhm.
Um, but even that, it's just it's not a real solution.
I would
Um,
probably. I think that like a good solution would be taking that spring water and then running that through like a zero filter. Because even in a natural spring and spring water, you're still gonna have like residual stuff that's like just because we fucked up the planet so bad in a like actual realistic way, in a tangible way, not in like a carbon's going up way, but in like a, every time it rains, there's a non-negligible amount of Roundup within that water. Like every time you go and take a soil sample of soil anywhere in the world, even places that are organic farms and always have been, you will find Roundup and other pesticides in that ground and soil because it disperses itself into the air. And so, like, when you have those types of issues that are basically permeating all aspects of like life on Earth, water, air, soil, all of that, even getting spring water is not going to be particularly all the way safe. Like everything's pretty much fucked right now. Like everything's been kind of tainted by modernity in a certain way. So I think that maybe if you could find a spring, you can get a zero filter, you can run your spring water through your zero filter. That's probably as good as you're going to be able to get. Um, So I would maybe recommend doing that. I don't know where the local spring is to me, and I would be hesitant to drink any groundwater within about 100 miles of me based on how fucked and industrial the area I live in is. So that's my only concern there.
Fair, fair.
But
These springs do get tested.
okay.
I was looking it up today, and apparently I was even looking it up. One of these springs around here is like award winning or something, which is hilarious to me. That just the concept of that is really funny. But
I'm gonna look them up when I get off of here, see if I can find which ones are around me, do a little research on them. Because I mean, if they're coming from a source that's sequestered away and it's like, I don't know, they've tested and they're made sure there's not any type of industrial chemicals and byproducts in there, then I would be a lot more comfortable. But just like the whole area I'm in, like there's like 5 or 6 times higher cancer rates in the area I live in than other
holy
places in the
shit.
world. A couple counties like across the way from me have like levels that are 15 to 20 times higher than the cancer rates in other places because of the industrial byproducts that are in the air and in the water and in the soil. So it's like, I don't know, at a certain point when you're in a situation like, if you're living in certain situations and places, you can take yourself off the tap water, you can take yourself off to everything, but like at the end of the day, like I don't know, what
The
all is that gonna
groundwater.
do? What is that gonna do for you when like the air and like the fucking electromagnetic circuit that you live in is just completely scrambled up and you have like harmful shit in the air, you have harmful shit in the ground that you're around. Like it's just I don't know. It just seems like a certain day, like it's just a bunch of duct tape and it's just like, is this even gonna do anything? Am I gonna spend my whole life trying to figure out ways to like put myself off of all these harmful things where at the end of the day I'm gonna end up getting like fucking skin cancer from some type of shit in the air
Oh
or like
yeah. Well,
whatever.
I mean, you're not gonna solve it all, right? But I mean, you gotta honestly. Well, this is a thing, right? This is an approach that I've really been getting inspired by quite a bit lately, which is just like just a little bit. This is
Yeah,
something I talked to my buddy about, right? Just a little bit here, just a little bit there, a little 1% here, 1% there, kind of thing. And like, dude, you stretch that out over your lifetime, like you'll be I mean you're at least going to be better off than most people. And think about it, like most people are completely fucked.
yeah, no
Like
doubt there.
most people don't have the wisdom and the good luck to be listening to a couple alpha male podcasters that are telling them the right way to be.
Right.
So I get it, right? um yeah, man, I think it's just the kind of thing. It's just the kind of thing. I mean, yeah, a lot of people, like I've like spent time in like LA, right? And like there's a lot of places where people don't even really have the option of being like, "Oh, like should I stop drinking the fucking tap water?" Like no, you
Right.
literally you have to fucking quit drinking the tap water. Like I get that. But yeah, in some places where it's a little less obvious, I think it's an important thing to realize. And I feel like it's just another thing of just kind of getting that shit just a little more locked in, like
Definitely.
the meal prep we were talking about a little bit earlier, right? Is this just like, I mean, you can work a shitty job that doesn't pay you a whole lot and like pay for some overpriced shitty apartment and just spend all your money on like
Uber Eats orders.
fast, yeah, Uber Eats and fast food and shit. You like can do that. That's gonna be all of your fucking money.
Right, all the time.
Um
You're
and
talking about
like and
living
that
old poor. You're talking about making food prep items. You're talking about going and getting free water instead of bottled water. You're talking about making the
straight
proper decisions with the hands that you're dealt.
straight up. And that shit rocks.
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, you know what I mean. I mean
Oh,
it's
definitely.
just
It's just it gets a little disheartening, is all I'm saying, because it's like it feels like your entire life ends up becoming just ways to position yourself against like all of these horrible things that are constantly pouring in your direction nonstop, and you're like, I don't know. It just feels like at a certain point you feel like Atlas holding up the whole fucking world. You're just like, what is this even helping with? Um, but I mean, I know it's for sure it's necessary to take small steps to set yourself up in a better way, and it's like there are things that you can do, and you should do. It helps kind of give yourself a little bit of control over your circumstances for sure.
totally. Well, and it's also, dude, it's also just like the kind of thing too where you just like you become so disillusioned by the system and by the people in charge of running it that it's just like, dude, like there is no fucking way that I trust any of these motherfuckers with my water. I mean, I guess I kind of already said that, right?
No, but
But
it's right.
no, yeah, exactly. It's like, dude, fucking, it's a pretty baseline fucking sacred thing right there. Like
Yeah.
you need clean fucking water to drink.
Hmm.
Um, so figuring that out
Dude, what do you think
is a
about
square
motherfuckers
one
like
thing.
Nestle there, like, and people that are privatizing water? And what do you think about that just being like allowed?
That shit's evil, dude. That shit's fucking evil as
Right.
hell. I mean, and like I get it, right? I mean, there's a lot of places in the country. Like, dude, like I said, man, like spending time in LA, like, dude, if you ever in Southern California, like go into the store and check out the fucking water aisle. It's just like constantly just like picked clean, dude.
Hmm.
It's like it's like the fucking the toilet paper shit in the beginning of COVID, right? Um, it's wild. It's wild. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know, man. Sorry, I'm like kind of stoned. I just sort of
Oh,
lost
you're
my
good,
train of
man.
thought a little bit, but
They got problems with
it's fucking
water.
evil. I mean, it's a basic fucking human need, but at the same time, I get like there's a lot of places where you fucking, of course, you're gonna fucking drink that shit because you
Right.
have to.
Yeah.
And that's really that's the real tragedy of it, right? Um, is that people are just total people. I mean, like what we were talking about, right? Medium markets and consent and just that whole fucking liberal spook.
Right. It's just
Um,
like they're kind of creating the need for you to have to buy the product, but then they're going to act like you buying the product as consent to keep the product going.
yeah, it's tragic.
They're
It's
like,
tragic.
we're going to give you shitty tap water that's going to give you cancer and probably kill you and lessen your cognitive abilities. And you're like, oh, I'd rather not have that. They're like, okay, well, what I can do for you is Nestle bottled water. You're like, fuck.
Yeah, now you can pay a fucking shitload of money for it.
Yeah. Dude, I,
Um,
I remember someone telling me that they were traveling right after the East Palestine thing, with like the train and the derailing and the poisonous
yeah,
stuff all in the water and in the air. And they were like, I'm not going to drink any tap water because I'm near the spot where this happened. So they went out and they got a bottle of water from the store, and they found out that the bottle of water they had bought was produced in the same area. Um, Even though they were like, I'm going to try to avoid the tap water, they ended up buying water that was produced in the same area
so
of Ohio.
it's just like slightly more filtered
Right.
of the same exact water.
And they were just like, oh man, what the hell? And that's basically kind of like what it's like drinking bottled water instead of tap water in general. Because you're just kind of getting this like more expensive and more fucked thing 9 times out of 10, especially if it's coming from fucking like Dasani or fucking Nestle or whatever the fuck, dude. Dasani water tastes like armpit sweat, dude. I don't know what it is.
That shit tastes like it tastes like, I don't know. That shit's weird. It tastes like plastic.
Yeah, yeah, it's like
And
liquefied plastic,
that's like one of the big problems with the bottled waters in the
dude.
first
Of
place. It's just
course,
like you're drinking a lot. You're getting a lot of plastic in that.
you're taking so much plastic in.
Which honestly was kind of one of the main things that I was kind of like worried about getting this stuff is
I
like,
was gonna ask
you
you
know,
that.
well, so I got one of the big plastic jugs, but it's
Mm-hmm.
like the BPA free thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, I mean, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's just the big blue
Water cooler.
jugs that, yeah, it's the water cooler jug,
Uh huh.
right? Pretty standard. Um, and like I said, it's they say BPA free, but to be honest, I don't really put a lot of stake in that shit anymore.
No, that's like the one thing that they were able to win a case, like some sort of class action lawsuit against, and to like prove that BPA is actually bad for you. Meanwhile, there's like 1,000 other things in there that are just as bad that they haven't actually had precedent for.
Right. And so it's not ideal, right? I think it would be great to get something like aluminum, or I saw glass jugs like this.
That would be
I haven't
tricky though on transport, dude. Like a
Well,
big fucking
exactly.
glass jug.
The glass jug's tough, and the only ones I saw, these fucking absolute, they're big 5 gallon ones. and these fucking people don't put handles on them, and it's
Oh
like,
my
what are
god.
you? Yeah, what is wrong with you?
This is gonna
So
get wet. I'm gonna be holding a wet, slippery glass like anvil in my hands, basically.
that's how you break a foot, dude.
Yeah.
And you fucking get just huge blades all over your fucking kitchen. So yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, it's to the point of what you're saying, right? Like, there's so much to fucking worry about with this shit, right? It can just feel like a like slapping tape on the side of a sinking ship or something, right? But
Mhm.
like
But
some
it's
flex tape.
yeah,
But
yeah, deflect seal. Holy shit! A screen door and a little
but
flex seal.
exactly. But like at the same time, it's
It helps, dude. It helps you feel like you have a semblance of control over your circumstances, which is
well, and that's
like,
the thing. I was agonizing over this stuff. Um, before I went and I just committed to getting the bottle.
yeah,
But it's kind of just the like letting the enemy or the letting the perfect be the enemy of the good
yeah,
type of
definitely,
thing, where it's
for
like,
sure.
dude, like regardless of how this is, it's gonna be better than fucking tap water.
Yeah.
Like it's hilarious that I'm even considering that. And the big thing is, I think the big thing, the plastic bottles that you're getting from bottled water, it's so rinky dink and like
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like it's total in my mind that shit is different.
I mean, it's way
Um,
different, and it sits in like hot conditions and transport and stuff like that, and so it gives it time to leach in. And your
yep,
water is in those containers for longer. So, like, if you're going and filling up your water cooler, you're running through that in probably a week or 2 week, whatever amount of time. But the bottles of water that you're
exactly,
getting have been sitting there on the shelf in that bottle of plastic for X amount of time, longer than that, and they've been having time to really seep in and leach into that water.
exactly.
Yeah, I try to avoid that. I drink out of a metal water bottle, or
Same.
glass if I can, and I try to just drink filtered water if I can. Um, yeah, it's I don't know. I try to do what I can about it, but it's like when I'm on the road and stuff, I can't always find a good filtered water source. So it's like I have to buy water if I have to. Um, I don't know. It just seems like sometimes, like you're saying, a little bit six dozen or six in one hand, half dozen in the other. But like you do need to just make decisions of what makes you feel better. If you think that it's a something that's going to be like a better option than tap water, which is you're probably right, then go for it. And then if it helps you feel like you're, have a little more control over things, that's an added bonus over it too. So I think that I think what you need to do in modernity is try to like control what you can around you as far as like adding stability.
I love the discourse of just going, I think the thing you got to do in modernity is I don't know why, but I just love that as a catchphrase right there. Just summing up just like all of online discourse that's ever happened. The thing that you got to do in modernity is this, guys. I fucking love it.
But I mean, that's basically what it is. You got to just kind of give yourself some level of control around the things around you that matter in order to try to add some sort of stability and buffering in between like them and the other things that are coming in to try to corrupt them or put poison into your water or whatever it is. And you got to try to just do that wherever you can because like there's a lot of things in life that are kind of getting to run through the meat grinder of modernity, and there's not you can't save everything, you can't save everyone, and so you got to try to do what you can to put up those roadblocks where you can in order to give yourself a little bit of space and a little bit of peace and
Look out for
refuge.
you and yours,
Hmm.
Well, and just taking fucking care of yourself.
Yeah.
I've been this is another fucking funny thing, but I've been sunning my balls lately.
You
Okay.
mentioned that. I had some questions on the logistics of how that happens, where you go to do it. Are you using a machine?
And that's you want to talk about modernity, like it's hard to find a fucking place to sit in direct sunlight totally naked these
No
days,
doubt,
right?
bro. Yeah.
That's no, but I mean actually think about that.
Yeah,
Like
it's crazy.
that's that sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Um okay, so we got a balcony at my place,
Okay.
and you just can't really see up to it. And so what I'm actually doing is I'm on my laptop working straight up, dude. I got a little cafe table and chair set. on this upstairs balcony, and my bare ass, the metal chair gets a little severe, so I put a towel down.
Yeah.
But I'm just sitting there, and it's straight up like hot direct sunlight, and I'm just sitting there totally naked, just doing my work, naked as the day I was born. And
Dude,
I gotta
nice.
tell you, first of all, like, tanning up pretty quickly. It's nice.
It's like, well, I've
But
never
also,
had experience. I've never had the access to sunlight like this before.
no, dude, no, straight up though, dude, like the full, like, because okay, here's the thing. I think that tanning booths are degenerate.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I won't go in
there's
there, dude. I will not cook my nuts in one of those things, dude. I don't care how much sunlight's good for your balls. There's no way tanning booths are.
it's like it's it's like the pocket pussy of sunlight.
They're like
It's just,
microwaves, bro. I don't fuck with that.
yeah, no, I mean, uh, no thanks, is the official Slav. That's all in so many words. It's like, I'm good. I'm good. It's the fucking, I have to pay to get into a fucking booth that's gonna fucking fry my dick and balls and brain.
Yeah.
When just like it's free outside, you know.
Hmm.
It's like spring water. It's like well water, right?
Yeah.
Like, no, I'm good. You don't need to poison me. I'll just literally go get it free.
Yeah. We got sunlight at
Um,
home.
yeah, we got sunlight at home. Exactly. Um, yeah, man. I don't know. I mean, I've been really liking it. It's kind of a meme online to like
I
sun your
mean, no
balls,
doubt about that.
I've been seriously doing it, and um, it's good. I mean, logistics wise, like, I don't know. I'm not doing it every day because it also just hasn't been sunny every day. But I mean, like, when I'm doing it, like maybe a couple times a week, really, I'm like sitting out there for probably like, at least 30 minutes, maybe an hour, just in the sunlight, and
Hmm.
like, it's fucking good, dude. And the big thing too is, it's just like, is the balls part of this equation the important part? I don't really know, but just like but like, sunlight is medicine,
Right.
straight up.
Yeah, yeah.
And getting a lot of it, man. Like, I got quite a bit of sun today, and
Nice, dude. That's the
and
shit, man. I get
you
sunlight
just,
every day. It's fucked. I mean, not fucked. It's good. It's fucking
dude, it's
good.
fucked, dude. You're gonna fucking
Well,
die,
I am.
dude.
It's a little bit. I gotta wear a lot of sunscreen now because like I
Sure.
get a lot of exposure to it, and it's nice at first, but it does. The sun is a fickle beast. Like, you know.
Well, you know what else you got to do though? You know what else you got to do though? You got to just get yourself a big old sun hat, because
Oh,
like,
I rock
because
one of
that's the
those.
okay, hell yeah, because that's the Lindy sunscreen.
Yeah, I do
Like,
that.
sunscreen is like hormonal birth control
Yeah.
for your skin. You're just like, I don't know about this,
Yeah, no, a bunch of so there's different types of sunscreen. I I guess I know a little bit more about this than I kind of thought, but there's sunscreen that's like physical sunscreen, which is like it goes on top of your skin and it just is like zinc or something. Like that's like the really white shit. And it's like it
Sure.
just blocks sunlight from getting to your skin. So nothing's actually going into your skin. And then there's chemical sunscreen, which is like most of like banana boat or like copper tone or like whatever that other bullshit is you'd find at like
What a horrible fucking name, Banana Boat. I hate that
a
shit.
right,
Why would
yeah.
you name your company that, you son of a bitch?
I don't know. They think it's whimsical or something. But all of that stuff is chemical sunscreen, so it's got like weird chemicals in there that are designed to go into your like seep into your skin and then like do something to make it so the sunlight doesn't actually
Yeah,
harm
like,
it.
makes you gay.
But yeah, it does. It's basically what's turning the frogs gay, but you're lathering all over yourself.
Yep.
Um,
Making yourself a gay
and
frog.
that shit can't be good for you, and I avoid that. But I will use like a zinc sunscreen, which
Interesting.
is kind of just like essentially like a paint that you didn't wipe off. So it's not like
Okay.
something that's absorbed into your dermal layers. So I feel a little bit better about it. But what I do is I try to avoid using that as much as I can. So like I usually will wear a long sleeve shirt and then a hat and then long sleeve pants. Um, and that kind of that usually covers it. I don't have to really put sunscreen on. But then like, when the hot of the summer, dude, long sleeve shirts fucked outside. So I usually will either roll them up or put on a short sleeve. And in that case, I use a little sunscreen. But That's not to say that sunscreen or that sun is not good for you. Sun's really good for you. I think a lot of people don't get nearly enough sunlight. People across the board have vitamin D deficiencies, and a lot of that could be solved by getting more sunlight.
Oh yeah. Well, that's okay. Here's the other thing too. Right? Uh, people gotta be. You gotta just take some vitamin D. You gotta just straight up be taking some vitamin D, because like as far as like supplements go, vitamin D is really really fucking cheap, and like it's really easy to just adequately get enough if you just pop one vitamin a day.
But you gotta take it with K2 though.
Really?
Because that's what makes it bioavailable to you, like when you consume it through through your digestive tract.
So are you talking K2? I mean, are you talking just taking it with food? Are you saying
there's something D3 with K2 is a supplement that you can get, and K2 is it's like a, I don't know what K2 is. I guess potassium something, because I think
I think K2 is the name of a mountain.
Well, it's also the name of some fake weed that you can smoke, like incense kind of stuff that makes you trip nuts and basically go to hell.
We should have like a whole episode about that, like those like old like weed substitute homemade things, because that was like a dark era.
Dude,
I mean, nothing ever ends anymore, so I'm sure like that shit's still around.
It's
in
out
some
there.
Weird way.
But
like that stuff is scary.
Yeah, that shit's terrible, man. It's real bad. K2 was a big version of it, like a big brand name of it. Yeah, people were smoking that and salvia a lot at the time. Like that was something that was going around. People were like, let's smoke salvia and fake weed that we got at the gas station down the street that's run by a Pakistani family. And you're like, I don't know if I'd smoke anything from over there. But yeah, that was a weird time frame. I think that was a pretty dark time frame. I think that fake weed stuff is like literally the devil's work. I think regular weed is good and a gift of God, but I think that like lab made fake weed is like literally just satanic.
It's super gay. It sucks.
And I think that it took people to a lot of dark mental places too. And I think that it was kind of like indicative of just like a,
dude, salvia too. Like salvia sucks, dude. I fucking hate salvia.
It's a very pretty flower. Very, very pretty flower. Works really great in the landscape and ornamental setting. But as far as smoking it, yeah, don't do that.
It's like huffing dust off, dude. That shit sucks.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. What was I going to say? Oh, I would plant a lot of salvia at the park that I worked at, and then just doing landscaping stuff. And the first time I ever encountered it, I was like, what the hell? We got salvia out here? But then I realized it's actually a very common plant. And
well, I don't like it. I'm anti-salvia. I'm anti the plant. I think we should make salvia extinct as
get rid of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we should just torch it. I don't care about any animals that feed on it. They can die too. I hate salvia straight up.
If you are going to keep taking D3 or vitamin D, get some K2. I know that was kind of a hard transition there, but
oh no, it's good. I feel like I've got to. I feel like I probably have good shit. You know what I mean? Like I think I probably have that. You know what I'm saying? Because the woman takes care of the vitamin D.
Okay.
And so I think she probably would have been on that shit already. But yeah, man, fucking vitamin D's absolutely critical. Yeah, honestly, I actually as of this week stepped up my supplement game in a big way.
What else you got instead of the vitamin D?
So I recently started taking zinc. Zinc, good for healthy testosterone levels.
I take zinc.
I'm taking some magnesium and theanine at night.
Yeah. I take magnesium at night.
Yeah, that calm shit is gas.
Magna Calm?
Not Magna Calm, but it's just called Calm. Is the shit I got.
Okay, fuck yeah. I took something one thing that I took for a long period of time was called Magna Calm. And I imagine it's basically the exact same thing, but it's just magnesium citrate.
Yeah, and you just mix it up with shit.
Yeah.
And taking a little, I think it's alginine or whatever, which is again just good for like libido. I'm looking to cop some ashwagandha, some like good
Yeah, I fuck
ashwagandha
with
here soon.
ashwagandha big time.
I know that it can be hit or miss. I was talking to Sai about it, and he's like, it can definitely be hit or miss. But one thing that pisses me off, the fucking reishi that I bought
Mm-hmm.
from their guy, the USPS just like fumbled the bag and just like never got it to me.
Oh
And so
fuck.
I've been dealing with my local post office with that shit lately,
Mm.
which is a pain in the ass. But I'm excited to get the reishi in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've been taking some St. John's wort, which
Yeah.
again, I think St. John's wort along with vitamin D is kind of just one of those, like, especially if you're in kind of like a darker climate, you're a little further north, like it's a good idea to just have that on the rotation. Um,
Yeah, St. John's wort's good generally for like uplifting mood and stuff like that. Energy a little bit too.
100%, 100% good for with depression. And then obviously you got your like omega threes.
Yeah.
I feel like I think you just always be taking fish oil because
Yeah.
fish oil is
No doubt about
just
that.
goaded.
I've got a lot
Um,
of
and,
like
and then
joint issues and it helps me significantly. I can tell when I don't take it versus I
the
can
shit
tell when I do.
the shit's critical.
Mm-hmm.
And like I think I take just like the Kirkland multivitamin on top of that. Um, which is fine. I get like multivitamins aren't perfect or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah. So I mean, that's basically what I'm rocking these days, and just trying to improve my sleep, like generally. Um, and yeah, I mean, this is probably the most boring fucking thing to talk about,
No, dude, I
but
think that a lot of people need. I think that a lot of people are all across the board looking for ways to help, get healthier. People realize that something's missing in their lives and something's like why they're kind of feeling shitty or not feeling exactly like they should be. And I think it's a combination of a lot of stuff, but I think a big portion of that is not getting the proper nutrients in, not getting exposure to the right natural things. And
sure,
I think that if you're living a proper life with a really well balanced diet that's coming from organic farms that are giving you full nutrients in them, and you're getting out in the sunlight and exercising enough, and you're getting a really good balance, I think you can probably go without vitamins. But I think that like almost all people don't really actually get that. I'm not even sure that you really can anymore in a meaningful way. So where like it's nice to have vitamins and supplements to supplement that, hence the name. But to be able to give you that little extra something that, like, if you're an inside, you work a lot of jobs, you live in the city, you might not have access to getting enough sunlight that you really need all the time. So, like, taking
yep.
a vitamin D supplement can really help with that. Um, yeah, I think that those things are all important. I do probiotics and stuff too. I think that's good.
I've been keeping the kefir close at hand,
Oh, dude,
actually.
kefir's fire. Yeah, dude. Fuck
So
yeah,
so so,
man.
so kefir's fire. I've been keeping a little kefir on hand at all times, and I've basically entirely stopped. Um, I've entirely stopped drinking Lacroix.
Oh
Like
yeah.
soda water like that
Mm-hmm.
is like actively bad.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I'm just doing the water and the kefir at this point, which kind
Nice.
of it sucks because like years ago when I was like I almost like quitting smoking, drinking, um, quitting
They go
drinking.
together though, for real. To be honest,
Oh,
like
they
smoking
do, dude.
cigarettes and drinking liquor or drinking beer go together so good, bro.
Um, you better believe it, brother.
Sorry,
But
I didn't mean to bring that up or anything.
no, you're good. You're good. I totally lost my train of thought though. But
You were talking about
yeah,
kefir and water. You're not drinking
yeah, yeah,
carbonated.
yeah. I've been staying on the kefir for the probiotics, and that shit rocks, dude. And again, dude, that's another just like as far as I'm concerned, like with how my like experience in life has been and all that, just like taking and just the super stimulus that you're constantly surrounded by in contemporary culture that just wants to fuck you in the head.
Yeah.
You really just gotta like um you really just got to like do a bunch of these little small steps
Yeah.
to just limit the chaos going on in your head.
Right. Right.
And the gut is another source of that.
The gut's the key
And
to the heart and to the brain.
totally. And it's like, and it's like, look, like, is it going to make everything okay? No. You're still going to be in a very deeply alienating society. You're still, shit's still pretty fucked up, right? You can't completely detach from everything. But just taking these extra little steps, it can at least set you up to navigate this stuff a little bit
Mm-hmm.
better.
You fuck with turmeric at all?
I actually used to, at a coffee shop I worked at, I used to like daily have a turmeric latte.
Hmm. That's good for
Where
you.
I would straight up put it in. It was like what? It was like turmeric, a little cinnamon, and just like a tiny bit of black pepper to
Hmm.
activate it or
All those
something.
are good for you. Like that's another thing. Spices are there are a lot of really good healthy for you spices
Hmm.
that other cultures incorporate into their food on a more day-to-day basis that we don't. And I feel like cinnamon's one of them. Cinnamon's really good for you. Black pepper is good for your
The
sinuses and
funny
for your
thing is with
blood.
cinnamon is that the only way that we really use it over here is like mixing it with
You're
sugar,
right. Yep.
which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's another thing.
Sugar.
Limiting the sugar
Fuck.
is real important.
Dude, that's one thing that I've been trying to be a lot more conscious of in my life. Cause like, I don't know, I've been going through some, like, trying to do some purgation in my life a little bit of like going through and trying to
Sure.
see like what are things that stand in the way of me and actually like a more earnest, attempt of living in a more in contact with just like capital R reality.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's very well said, to be honest.
what are some kind of things that stand in the way of that a little bit, or kind of like crutches I used to rely on, or things that are just not really conducive to that lifestyle. And I realized that, like, I don't know, I think I have a pretty decent handle on a lot of my, just how I act and stuff like that. But one thing I realized that I do have an issue with was gluttony to an extent, just because of like I like to eat and I like sweets, and like it doesn't affect me physically. I have a high metabolism. I'm very fit. I work outside and stuff, so it's not like it's making me fat or anything. But like there is a certain dependency or like desire that is not always conscious for me to like want something sweet, or like you know want, like, if I haven't had like anything sweet all day, by the end of the day I'm like I want a treat after dinner or whatever. um and like there's nothing wrong with that particularly, but when I realize that like this is a desire that's coming from somewhere that's not always a conscious desire that I'm choosing, it's like, wait a minute, where is that coming from? What does that do for me? And what is the good that comes out of it? And so I've been trying to kind of limit those things. And so I've been thinking a lot more about my intake with sugar and how casual it is within our society. Just the amount of sugar that we take in constantly is insane. It's in everything, even shit that you wouldn't think is sugary. I mean, even in fucking bread, white bread is like primarily sugar, stuff like that. So I mean, it's really crazy and how difficult and how interwoven it is into our society and how difficult it is to escape. And like going a day or two without like being conscious about trying to not have any added sugar at all. That's some of the craziest I've felt, as far as like not withdrawal symptoms, but just kind of like I want something sweet, it's unsettling.
Totally, totally. I honestly, and the way you're talking about this just reminded me of the one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about, which is this is all about having an awareness of your experience,
Right.
right? Just a better sensitivity to what's going on inside you, the quality of your experience, just fucking stand up straight, correct your posture type shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I've been doing lately that I think is kind of a bedrock of all this shit I'm talking about here is just like, dude, getting back into the practice of meditating every day
Yeah.
is so important, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, I mean, I don't even really know how to like carry out a conversation about meditation. I mean, there is plenty to talk about. I for the most part just do mindfulness meditation, just seriously really basic, just like I lay flat on the floor,
Mm-hmm.
and I just kind of do the emptying my head out, and then just kind of basically being as in touch with just my actual reality of just sitting here being here
Yeah.
as I can. I've always wanted to try transcendental.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the funny thing with TM is that like you like literally need to like pay money to like
Go
have
through these
people help you.
courses. Yeah.
Exactly. And like to get like a mantra and shit like
Mm-hmm.
that. And like, and it's always just, I've always just done the like, I'm going to sit for 5 to 10 minutes, and just clear my head.
I think you could
Right.
pair that really well with, because this is what I do. Um, I pair that practice that you're talking about there, mindfulness meditation kind of practice,
Mhm.
more so like an active thinking in a way, where you're kind of noticing the thoughts that are coming across you, and you're like, choosing to not engage with them, and then you're kind of knowing hyper awareness more so is kind of what I would say, like a cultivated awareness.
Yeah.
I pair that with also like longer practices of like centering prayer or contemplative prayer, which is kind of more so in the line of transcendental meditation, where you usually have a mantra or a holy word or something like that that I'll return to, and it's not like an Indian style of meditation where you repeat a mantra over and over and over and over and over and over again, but more so of like you use that mantra as a base to return to. So, like when you start to notice yourself drifting out of a state that's more of a contemplative, centered state, you use that mantra to bring you back to the center. So, when you start to be, you know, have a thought that comes by that intrigues you, you say your mantra or whatever. So, one thing that I've been able to find that the Eastern Orthodox Church does is the Jesus prayer.
Hmm.
And so like, and there's a whole bunch of other ones that they use as well. There's other mantras, and like just using the name of Jesus and stuff like that is also helpful, or just choosing like a word like unity, or peace or connection or whatever like that to use to return to. I think it's nice because it takes you out of that state of hyper awareness and into a deeper state of like that is more transcendental in nature, because it's not about hyper awareness, it's about an opening of oneself, um, and kind of like flowing, which is, I don't know, it's not something that's easy to paint into words or anything, but I think that those two practices are complementary. And I think that's something that I would suggest looking into. I think mantra meditation is also super helpful, because I think that I'm personally someone who believes in the power of sound and like vibrational energy and vibrational medicine. I think it's something that's very big. Um,
Interesting. That's something I'd be interested in because I have like tinnitus.
Mm-hmm. Dude,
Um,
yeah, and that's one of the main things within mainstream science where vibrational energy has actually been like under mainstream scientists in like the West have actually recognized the ability of it to actually off put and solve tinnitus. Because what they do is they'll put a
not tendonitis, but tinnitus. Like
that's what I
the
meant. Sorry, tinnitus, like the ringing in the ear.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I said tinnitus instead of
Yeah,
tinnitus.
tendonitis, like fucking my wrists hurting and
No, no, I
shit.
said, well, yeah, not tendon, but tendon, because the word spelled with two N's, and for some reason my brain thought there was an I in between them. um,
Right.
but yeah, tinnitus. They use a device that like puts a little pitch in the other ear that cancels out the ringing, um, and it can eventually train
Interesting.
you to naturally cancel that ringing out. It's kind of like active noise cancellation in headphones.
Interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I believe that. I mean, I've had it for years, so it's already kind of just one of these like I
You overlook it.
it's yeah, it's basically just like kind of the way I think about it is like feeling your clothes while you're wearing them.
Yeah, right.
You know,
It's just every
it's
now
like
and again when you're in the right moment, you're like, wait, I have clothes on. But then as soon as you do something else, you're taken out of that awareness and you're like beyond that.
exactly like it's not really that big of a deal, but
Is it a deter? Is it an obstacle in meditation?
it's actually funny. I it during meditation, I've always there's been times where I've like worried about it. Like I've done isolation chambers,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really worried about it in those. And it's just like not a problem at those points. It's really weird. It can be it can be a problem when you're trying to go to sleep. That's the big thing. Um, but no, like as far as meditating goes, honestly, it's one of these things where it's just like if you begin to kind of notice it when you're kind of just like kind of deconstructing where you're at,
Mm-hmm.
and all these things that are kind of standing in between you and like your kind of pure experience,
Mm-hmm.
like it kind of just becomes one of these things where I'm just like, yeah, I can just kind of throw myself into this sound and just kind of let it permeate me, because
Right.
it's like whatever, like I don't even care,
Mm-hmm.
like it's just there, it's not hurting me, it's fine.
That's
So I
nice.
guess it can be kind of like that, but yeah, it's funny because you think that it would be a problem, with those things specifically, but it just isn't, especially in the isolation tank. It just, but again, also though, maybe somebody that doesn't have any experience at all with like meditation would do one of those tanks, and that
Then
with
fixate on
with
it.
tinnitus, and exactly. So maybe it's a little different for
Well, I
me,
think
but
it's you're at the end of the day, I think you're still fixating on it, but it's fixating on it from a different perspective where it's like it's giving you the object to fixate on through which you're doing your meditation. Like you said, like you can let that sound just kind of wash over you, and then you're like,
right.
it's just another layer of the things that are already kind of always around us in that way. And I think that like that is a meditative point of view to have on it. Whereas like people who maybe don't have that point of view or that perspective or that experience would fixate on it in a more anxiety inducing way, because the sound itself is not an issue and hearing the sound is not an issue to it's not a block to meditation, but the thoughts that arise in relation to the sound, that is what the block to meditation is. And so if you just use it as something that's like, oh, this is something I can kind of involve into. I think that makes sense. Like some people use an image when they're meditating. They'll stare at an image or they'll keep an image in their mind and they go back to it. It can be, I can see that maybe being a similar thing. But
Yeah.
dude, all this talk about meditation has me for sure. You definitely need to check out Rupert Sheldrake, bro. Like no doubt about it. Um,
Okay, so this is, I wanna get the next book club going,
mm-hmm.
right? And so does he have like a shorter book that we can do an episode for?
Let me see how many pages this one is, because this is the one. Oh my fuck, no, that's too long. I mean, it's not necessarily too long, but I guess nothing's too long. But this is a long one. um, so, fuck. There's, I think that his most significant book in what's relation to what we talk about would be called Science Set Free. This is by Rupert Sheldrake, and it's 400 pages, but it's like 10 sections within those 400 pages. So we could like go section by section or like just choose one or two to talk about or something like that if we wanted to do that book. Um, there's also the one that I'm reading right now, which is Science and Spiritual Practices, which is a shorter one, but it's really, it centers on like 7 different spiritual practices, like the practice of gratitude, meditation, connection with nature, like a handful of other things like that, and kind of shows like a spiritual or biophysicist explanation for like benefits within the body and within nature and within life when people do those things. Um, and anyways, I think he'd be very interesting for you in general because a lot of it, he talks about meditation, and the usefulness of it from, but not just from like the Sam Harris perspective of like, I do mindful meditation and I'm going to give you this app now that's going to teach you how to
I
do.
fucking hate that shit,
It's
dude. Just
that's
absolutely taking
sterilized.
any kind. Yeah, it's fucking globalist meditation.
Yeah, it's fucked up. And he is like kind of like the anti Sam Harris, where he like kind of is like, yeah, that's retarded. And basically, one of the things he said was like, people like Sam Harris will say that you can do meditation without having any type of spiritual frame. You don't have to buy into any spiritual premises or anything like that. And he's like, for those people, I just say keep meditating. Because like
Yeah, just
eventually
straight
you
up, man.
will, you know what I mean? Like there's no way to avoid it when you're engaging with it on that type of level. It's not simple, biology and chemicals in the brain. There's other things that are at play. But anyways, he's phenomenal as a writer, Rupert Sheldrake. I think he's really big in pushing of the paradigm shift that I think is kind of what's underlying all things right now. I think that there is a coming paradigm shift that's been in the works for a few, maybe 100 years or so, even. Kind of in the way that, like, in Marxism or historical materialism, they talk about there's always what is dying and what's developing, and then
Right.
there's a thread that goes in between them. I think that we're kind of riding a thread right now between a dying age and a newer age, and I think that it's across the board on a lot of things. But I think that a lot of it has to do with this kind of conflict between science and spirituality, and I think that the new paradigm is not necessarily a meshing of them in a way that's like, um, I don't know, in a way that would be like,
The the new paradigm is postmodern,
yeah,
right? It's like kind of above. It's like above them.
right,
And again, that's where I just like keep coming back to that fucking Dugan line that like Oren's stuff turned me on to, of just being like, dude, like, it's in postmodernity, people don't even know how to even grapple with the concept of God being dead, and so you can kind of enter into the church from through the back door now.
yeah,
You can kind of enter with a new set of eyes
mm-hmm.
that are actually almost gained from being past the point of the deconstruction of faith.
100%.
And I that's how I kind of view what you're talking about
Yeah,
here.
I think it's like a meshing of science and spirituality in a way that doesn't blaspheme either. I think that's really like the proper direction to be heading, and I think that's really where we're going to end up going. And I think that it's somewhat necessary in order to demystify some of the things, and like you're saying, to kind of deconstruct some of the issues that are tied to both of them.
Right.
And so I think that ultimately that's a bright thing that's happening, and I think that people like Rupert Sheldrake are prominent thinkers that are helping to push that. And yeah, he gets respect from a lot of people across the board, from like deep metaphysical scientists, or not metaphysical scientists, what the fuck, deep like quantum physicists and stuff like that. Very like scientific minded individuals, as well as like preachers and priests and monks and stuff like that. So he's pretty based across the board, and I think that he would be worth looking into. If it's not too long, I would like to do Science Set Free, as like a book club sometime. We could try to do one section at a time, um, or we could just both read it, and then if we want to do a book club about it, we can, or we don't have to.
Yeah, man, I think we should check it out. Honestly, just talk to me about it when we're done recording, and we'll pick like a specific book, because I know people were curious about that after the last one. People seem to like the Burnout Society recording.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm into that for sure. Let's see. I mean, I think we've been going pretty long now, so I might need to wrap up because it's past my bedtime. But
Yeah, man, let's just call it here.
cool.